Hello and welcome. In this video, we're going to be talking about distributing funds out of the trust account and closing out the personal injury case. Now, this is the last stage of the personal injury process, and there are just a few things here that we need to talk about. So, let's start out with a quick overview. During the closing phase of the case, we will send you a closing statement that details how the settlement funds will be distributed out of the trust account. Then, once you sign the closing statement, we will distribute the settlement funds. Finally, we will close out the case once all the checks and transactions have cleared. Now, let's talk about the closing statement in detail. We'll start by talking about what the closing statement is. The closing statement, or settlement statement, is a detailed financial report that shows exactly how the settlement funds will be divided up. So, what information does the closing statement include? Well, typically, a closing statement will have all the relevant financial information. And that includes things like the total amount of the settlement, or the total amount of money recovered in the case. The attorney fees, which is how much your attorney gets paid for representing you. It'll also show you the attorney fee rate, which is the contingency fee percentage for the attorney. Next, the closing statement will show you the case costs, which include things like costs for medical records, court filing fees, deposition fees, expert witnesses, or mediation. The closing statement may also include any unpaid medical bills, as well as any unpaid medical liens held by third-party payers, like health insurance companies, Medicare, or Medicaid. Finally, and most importantly, the closing statement will show you how much money you will receive. Now, let's talk about the distribution process, which is where we distribute the funds out of the trust account. There are several boxes we need to check before we can start distributing the money. First, we need to make sure that the settlement check cleared the bank. Then, we need to make sure we have all the final medical bills from all of your medical providers. We also need to make sure we have all the final medical liens from any third-party payers, like health insurance companies, Medicare, or Medicaid. And please keep in mind that for medical bills and medical liens, we are at the mercy of the medical providers and lien holders to provide us with the information we must have in order to distribute the funds. And for that reason, it can take some time to get final bills and liens and close out a case. After the funds clear and after we have final medical bills and liens, we can prepare the closing statement and send it for your review. Then, once you've had a chance to review the closing statement, you can sign it. And finally, once we have a copy of the signed closing statement, we can begin distributing the funds. Now, let's finish up by talking about closing out the case. Once the settlement funds are distributed to you, your medical providers, the creditors or lien holders, and your attorney, we need to make sure that these transactions clear the bank. And once all the transactions have cleared the bank, we can close out your case. Well, that's it for the closing phase of a personal injury case. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at 321 Lawsuit. That's 321-529-7848. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.